My first SmackDown back with my WTF Moments goggles on firmly, right around me eyes, and bloody hell, slap my arse and call me Gertrude. What a fantastic episode it was. Every single segment, in my opinion, was great. There wasn't too much to moan about it. It all slapped. In different kinds of ways, as the kids might say today. Variety, lots of stuff, different strokes for different folks. I can't wax lyrical enough about last night's SmackDown, but there are still some WTF moments to be had, as much as I am looking forward to next week's show, where, of course, we learned last night Sasha Banks will be defending her newly won SmackDown Women's title against that no-good backstabbing bitch called Bayley. Hey, let's crack on with the WTF moment, shall we? Intro man in the corner, hit the bloody intro, will you? Now, I feel like I need to mention this on a SmackDown WTF Moments video, just like I mentioned it on this week's Raw WTF Moments video, just so I can say, in my mind, I've mentioned it, let's move on with our lives. But hearing Maggle Cole himself talk about Survivor Series, guys, the one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown superstars go head to head, isn't it so cool? And all of that crap, especially coming from Maggle Cole's voice of all the voices in WWE today, hearing that line was especially painful. And we all know why this is a massive WTF moment, don't we? But there we go, we've said it, it's out there, let's try and move on with our lives. I firmly believe if we all stick together, we can overcome this horrible thing. And then we have a direct quote from Corey Graves himself when he was talking about Dolph Ziggler versus Kevin Owens. A great match, by the way, that kicked off last night's SmackDown. But speaking about that, Corey Graves said, to be able to join and represent SmackDown can propel your career to great things. Great things. Now, I know he wasn't on Team SmackDown this time last year, but just look at Keith Lee at Survivor Series 2019. He completely stole the show in that tag team match until that no-good Roman Reigns, before he was a definite no-good Roman Reigns, stuck his big dog beak in it. But look at what that's done for Keith's career as we're stood here in October/November of 2020. It's kind of got lost now, hasn't it? But if we do want to bring things closer to home, all we need to do is look at SmackDown Zone, their favourite son, Zigglypuff himself, Mr. Dolph Ziggler, back at Survivor Series 2014 himself, along with the help of Sting, of course. He took down the entire world and did his career get boosted by that big victory where he defeated everyone in the world? Nah. It didn't. He's lost just about every single match since. But honestly, being on a Survivor Series team is well worth it. Corey Graves said himself, honestly, it's true. The pride of being able to represent SmackDown at Survivor Series. Isn't it so cool, guys? Said Maggle Cole about Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler and those two lads fighting to be on Team SmackDown at Survivor Series in a few weeks' time. And of course, as we all know, because we are very clever people who do not forget things 5 minutes after they have happened, we've got to ask the question, with Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler just drafted over to SmackDown from Monday Night Raw, do they really care about SmackDown, Maggle Cole? In this sort of scenario, I think about football players when they're transferred from one team to a new team and they score a goal for that new team and they're giving it, oh, kissing the badge and this, that and the other. I'm thinking, you don't support this team, you twat. You take our money and you head for the hills, you mercenary dick. Kevin and Dolph kind of the same, maybe in my deranged head. And then we've got to make it a WTF moment, the fact that Dolph Ziggler himself, he hits a Fameasser. He goes for the cover, but he doesn't get the 3 count. And despite all of those things happening, he's still shocked. And I know it's professional wrestling, but Dolph Ziggler, how man? You must know by now, buddy lad. It's not a very good move. We've learned that beyond any shadow of any doubt, due to the fact how many times you've hit it and how many matches you've actually won with it. It's a no good move unless, of course, it's being done by the one, Billie Gunn. Insert saxophone right here, and it's his fat ass. Fat, of course, with a PH that's coming down on the back of some fool's no good neck. My career and my body of work speaks for itself, said Natalya as she was bigging herself up, putting herself forward to be the team captain for Team SmackDown at Survivor Series 2020. A metaphorical slap on the titty for you, Natalya. I've just realised if you haven't seen that video where Natalya slaps her sister right on the tit out of nowhere, it beggars all kinds of beliefs. What I've just said there is really weird. Oh well. But back to the point at hand. Yes, Natty, your body of work might speak for itself in terms of you being the winningest. You've won the most matches of any female in the history of WWE or something. But more importantly, you've probably lost more matches than you have won. So there you go, what you're really saying here. Black trousers, red shirt, brown blazer. Now I know what you're saying right now. I know you're saying, Ross, you look like a warmed up tramp in your jumper that cost all of £8 from Burton's. You cannot go wrong with Burton's. I don't care what you say. But Adam Pearce, what the f*** are you wearing? Oh, I swore. Freak show, freak show. Everyone look at the freak show. Ha 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 ha. Now I know Forum Lars Sullivan is not part of his WWE gimmick, the thing we see on our television screens. But I don't know if it is just me. You might do this as well. But when somebody, a certain WWE superstar, has done something outside of the ring and then you see them again on television after they have done this thing and you can't quite get the thing they have done outside the ring out of your mind when you're watching them in the ring on TV, that's the sort of relationship I have with Lars Sullivan. And what's fantastic is both in the ring and out the ring on the forums, the term freak, it still applies. But knowing what we know about the freak Lars Sullivan on the forums and the rest of the stuff we have read on the interweb, which means it has to be absolutely 100% true, seeing this same man cut what was a sympathetic babyface promo about being bullied at school and whatnot, it was a flex I did not expect to see flexing on this week's SmackDown. Really weird. Still though, I guess this turmoil in his youth, it explains a lot, doesn't it?
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Natalya has seen and done it all, said Corey Graves, and I know he's not speaking literally here. He's speaking metaphorically due to the fact that Natalya made her WWE debut all the way back in 1987. Didn't you know? But on these WTF moments, sometimes I've got to be an arsehole, and this is one of those occasions. Don't say I'm an arsehole all the time. I'm nice, honestly. And with one SmackDown Women's title reign and with one Divas title reign to her name, it's quite clear to everybody watching this video, and this arsehole says some arseholey things, that Natalya quite clearly has not done it all. And on top of that, Corey Graves, I'm asking you the question, have you seen Natalya eat her own head? I don't think you have. And then apparently next week we will learn why Carmella is untouchable. And I was thinking to myself, next week, Carmella, we already know the answer, pal. It's because you hid away in that room with your silly camera and all that booze. You're never remotely even close to anybody outside of Jeeves the Butler in order for anybody to get at you. No wonder you're untouchable. You're like the Pope, but in a room instead of a Perspex box. I love him. So it turns out that Aalyah Mysterio, she loves Buddy Murphy, and bloody hell, that didn't take long, did it? And then they started necking on right in front of Ronald Mysterio's devastated little masked face. And the levels of drama, you take Coronation Street, you take EastEnders, you put them together and you times them by 10, and that's what's going on there. And what's more, look at that dirty pervert right there. Go on, buddy. Go on, Aalyah. You kiss each other good. Dirty pervert. But while I was watching Aalyah and Murphy neck on like a couple of characters in a storyline mode on the old SmackDown vs. Raw video games, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? The things I do in this job. The indie child in me burst out and started thinking about a song by the Pigeon Detectives that went a little bit something like this. He don't know what he should do. She's 17, he's 22. Is that too much of a difference? Well, Aalyah's 19 and Buddy is 32. Is that too much of a difference? I probably shouldn't be doing that in such a light-hearted manner, really. Is it too much of a difference? Oh, it might be. The song is called Shot in the Dark. Kevin dun 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 dun, who probably had nothing to do with this graphic right here, but he's the only name I know in terms of WWE's production, so what's a boy to do? He clearly made that graphic, also in the dark. Or fickle, The official theme, Kevin Dunn. AC/DC Shot in the Dark is the official theme for Survivor Series 2020. Are you dizzy, blood? No, of course he's not. We know he's not, man. We know what's gone down here. Kevin Dunn was typing up the words you can see on the screen there, listening to Shot in the Dark by AC/DC. He was headbanging, and what's happened? One tooth has hit the mouse, moved the cursor to the wrong position. The other tooth, because they go in that direction like that, it's hit the backspace button, and what's the result? Are fickle. Now, as we all know, not all WTF moments have to be negative, and of course this one right here, where we saw Cesaro himself lift up Montez Ford by his gut, like that somehow, and then send him right into orbit, and then have him land belly first into the crowd. It's a WTF moment in the best possible way. What a fantastic spot. Dun 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 dun. 1 second we're looking at Sasha Banks, the next second we're looking at the saucy ankles of a camera tripod. Oh, Kevin, you spoil us. And to be honest with you, I have heard what happened in this moment right here from my backstage sources in WWE, but to be honest with you, it's too gnarly, too gory to speak about here on a Saturday afternoon/evening. Dirty bugger. And this is the graphic right here where it finally hit home. There I was watching this week's Raw, where I realised that NXT was not going to be a part of Survivor Series 2020, and I was like, oh, last year was really good. That's a bit of a shame they won't be involved this year. Bloody hell, WWE, what you doing, you bastards? But then they showed this graphic here, and whew, it came down on me like a ton of bricks, so it did. Yes, Sasha Banks versus Asuka will be absolutely fantastic, but we have seen this match before this year here in 2020. Imagine, just imagine, if Io Shirai was involved in that as well. What a shame, eh? You bastards. Now, when I heard Sasha Banks say right into Bayley's face how Bayley backstabbing bitches, they never win, I was like, Sasha, what the hell, no? Hold up there, you blue bastard. And that's simply because Sasha Banks, as we all know, has one of her sort of signature, not quite the finisher, a signature move called the backstabber. So surely that means that Sasha Banks herself is a backstabbing bitch. Therefore, by saying backstabber bitches never win, isn't Sasha Banks merely discrediting her own signature maneuver? And as we round off the WTF moments from this week's fantastic installment of Friday Night SmackDown, I say to you, Jey Uso defeats Daniel Bryan clean. 1, 2, 3, middle at ring, as the Yorkshireman would say. And I guess out of context, yes, it is a WTF moment, but in context, where Jey Uso might just be on the way to becoming Universal Champion. Is he? Could he be? I don't know what I'm saying here. He might be. I could see it happening. I guess it's not too much of a WTF moment. Potential Universal Champion, maybe. Is that silly? Have I just provided my own WTF moments here on WTF Moments for last night's SmackDown? I'm just rambling now. Could Jey Uso be No, shut up, man, Ross, you tit. Anyway, Daniel Bryan getting pinned clean by Jey Uso. Out of context, huge WTF moment. In context, a bit less of a WTF moment, but a WTF moment nonetheless. No. And as I have a game of mental tennis inside my own head, which is never, ever a good thing, I've just got to say that's it for all the WTF moments from last night's SmackDown. Great show. Thank you once again to you for watching this rambling nonsense of a video. I bloody love you. Ta-da!